using three colours: yellow ochre, light red, and a bluey black. And that, by mixing with white, or that, you will get soft greens, you get purpley pinks, and so on. They're all rather low-key chromas. But it was quite useful. When we go over later on, I'll show you some of the nudes that I did when I was a student under Jimmy Cook, using that. But I also found that by using it in this technique, which is pointillism, that I got more glow to the colours. So I used the same colours, they're the earth colours, but they're put on in little dots, so little brush strokes. So that the colours there, in say that area there, you'll see that there are some light bluey greys, there's some light yellowy colours and some light pink colours. So it's very muted, it's very soft, but you'll see there how the colours are adjusted in tone. Now I've actually done over there some cylinders there showing those three techniques there: one direct painting, one broken colour, and so on. That one I'll explain in a moment. That's a broken colour done by my partner Robin. He did that as a demonstration for some students. Yeah, obviously garlics, but he wanted to show that they could use broken colour in pieces of colour, but keeping the whole thing a very high key, like a very light picture, which is another idea. Now, what Jimmy Cook did then was to get us to move into the brighter colours by using this colour synthesis of yellow and red and blue for the light areas, plus white, and in the darker areas, orange, green and purple, and keeping them adjusted in tone. So in that case there, that's not tonally adjusted, and that is. As you can see there, the lovely, very Cezanne-ish, the lovely colour changes. Not pointillism, similar idea, but put on in brush strokes rather than the fussy little, thing. Now, I find too that, like in watercolour, you can get lovely just looking at these two jobs here, you've got the same subject, so that's a watercolour, very directly a watercolour done very quickly, but you can use overlapping colours, or in egg tempera, where you can do an underpainting, say with a yellow and put a cool on the top. So egg tempera, I use egg tempera a lot, and it's a bit like pointillism because you're using little brush strokes of colour, but they're all translucent. So that's another little idea. I get quite a few tempera jobs to do because I'm the only one in Australia that does it. And they're a bit painstaking, but they do get some lovely glowing colours with it because you're using the paint a bit like you would with watercolour, but with tempera you can actually wipe out your lights. You can't wipe anything out with watercolour once you stay in paper. You can only go to gouache then. So, okay, so that gives you a bit of background to what we're on about. And then what I'll do is I'll set up a little still life with your help, and I'll do a little demonstration on how we put that together. Now, is this making sense to you all? Is there any questions? Okay, you're sort of okay on all that?
So far so good.
So far so good. Haven't bamboozled you with theory. So I think my approach always is pick up a paintbrush. It's always by far the best way of doing it. Now, when you've got a still life like this, you can try and sort out what you want. I just got a whole lot of different tricks. Now there's so many different things there, they're too busy. You can do lovely colour changes with this one. That's a warm drape, or you can find this drape, which is a very cold drape, so that's different to that. You get quite a different effect there. So even with a white, you've got to think now, is it a warm white or a cool white? So those sort of very useful things. You could throw in a stronger chroma if you wanted to, and think, I wonder how that will work. It might work quite well. It might pick up some of the reds in your group, so you could do that. You could put in quite a strong chroma. You could put in something that was both a strong chroma and a light tone. But again, once you do that, you're double hitting on it because you've got a strong chroma, high key, strong chroma, and a contrasting hue. So probably you wouldn't want your green apple there, or you could, but jump a little bit. So these are the sorts of things when you're setting up a group in your studio, and that's what Margaret Preston did. She'd say, well, the still life is the place where you work out what you want on the still life table, and that's why that second sheet I handed out to you there. Selection, sorting out. I mean, you can make anything work because what you're doing in your group, you're not actually copying it, but it's a guide. So we can have a look then and think, oh yes, okay, will I have a bit more of that? Or will I have more of this? Will I tuck this behind that? So you can see there the arrangements and things that you can do there and and how you would do it. It'll probably all work if you make it work on your painting. But a lot of it can be worked out there on the still life table. Okay, does that make sense again? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is cut out some of those fringes, and I'm not going to paint all those things in the time available. So we'll just see what we can do there. Yes, I think I'll bring this white. I think I'd rather have that, yeah. Yes, possibly. Now that might work if I put the whites on top of that. Might carry that around a bit. So that will bring that over. Do I want that shape, or will I just keep 2 onions? Yeah, the 2 onions too much the same size, or will I use a lighter onion like this one here? Maybe that one there, that's better. It's got some light in it, that's a bit better. Will I have that dark red, or is that a foreigner? Or will I be better off just to pick that out of there? Maybe this onion, maybe a better one. Yeah, that might work with that thing there. I think that onion's gone, but it doesn't matter. Now 3 is a good thing to design with. You don't really want equal numbers, but maybe put that light there, that's a bit better. Cover that a little bit, that's not too bad. That's too sharp a line there. Tuck that in behind that one. Let's see that one. No, that's too strong. We'll hold it straight here and pull it out. Then on top of that, tuck that under there. That might be better. Yeah, that's a bit better. Tuck that in behind that. That's better. That's a bit better and simpler. Good. Yeah, that one there. That's too much 2 and 2. Tuck that back under there. Now you see how much it can sort out before you even paint the jolly thing. Yep. Maybe even put that in front of that. That's a bit better there now. Put that back in the shadows, so tone. And we've got things like spotlights. So we've got a spotlight there that will help to bring that up. We've got even an overhead light over there, which I can bring up there. So all of those things. So that might put a little bit more movement to that by just picking that up. Yep. That over like that would be better. Yep. Not sure about that white onion. Too contrast with that base. We'll put him in the back. That'll be better. And we'll bring this fellow there. And I think I'll just have something smaller down there. We might try this little garlic. That might be alright. Okay. So 3 and 2. Don't know whether I still like that. Yeah, I think he's probably too much of a contrast all of a sudden. So, again, you might say, oh no, I don't think I'll do that. Maybe I'll just keep to that. So this is how you sort it out. I would have liked to find a slightly smaller onion. I might have a smaller one over in the kitchen. And that would be better. Yeah, that's probably not too bad. I think we need something, keep that movement there, so I'll just bring that over and I'll bring that from that angle there. And I think that might take that angle across a bit better there. So a little bit, because that will make a right angle with that. That will be better. Now we're getting somewhere. You see how the thinking that goes on? And the same goes when you're out of doors. As Suzanne said, sometimes it just needs the pressure of the thumb against the trunk of a tree to make a masterpiece. So he's not sorting it. He's not contemplating going out and moving the tree or digging it up. But on your painting, pressure of a thumb against the trunk of a tree. Okay? And the other, I think, wonderful saying, which I find is magic, was from Delacroix's journal. If any of you read Delacroix's journal, it's a wonderful book. Just a daily book of his, I've got a copy of it. Another book is wonderful to read is Reynolds' Discourses. I know they're old-fashioned people. I'm an old-fashioned girl. And I just think those things have gems of truth. And one of the things Delacroix said, which is wonderful, was give me the mud of the Seine, dirty old colour still is, and I will paint you the flesh of Venus. provided you allow me to surround it with what colour I please. Make sense? So colour relationships is what makes it tick. Okay. Now I lay out the palette much the same as the colour wheel. So that we've got there, and I don't have a lot of colours available, but I'll just go over them a bit for you there. I quite like a raw umber because it is fairly translucent is the word. I'll just use the back of that to show you. So that you've got there raw umber. See, it's a greeny brown. Can be a bit grubby, you've got to be careful with it, but it's quite good in blocking a composition in. And another colour which is translucent is raw sienna. See, you can work it right down as a glaze. Now you won't get that with yellow ochre. Now this is where you need to know your pigments. Now this is oil paint I'm talking about. Gouache may be different matter. And I've never used acrylics because they were invented after I was born. So they're probably very good, but I just haven't used them. I do use a bit of gouache occasionally. So that's a translucent colour, which is very useful. So what I actually have to colour with is white, it's obvious. I do like Naples yellow. It's not translucent, but it's a nice, it's Naples yellow light, and it is quite a nice yellow, got a little bit of lemon in it. It's quite nice colour, and it's actually rather lovely when you mix it with a little bit of purple. Now that will give you some lovely greys. Okay, so Naples yellow, because you're going down through the middle of the colour wheel. Now this again, you need to be quite confident with your colour wheel, so you know where you're going. It's a bit like having a street directory in front of you and say, well, when I turn at the next corner, I'll be going south, you know, and you've got to know that. Otherwise, people say, well, how do you know what you're using? You know, it's not the job, I think.
Is that dioxane purple?
No, it's a colour which you can't even get now. It's Rowney's permanent mauve. Oh, it's beautiful. It's much better than dioxane purple. I've got dioxane purple here, I don't like it. Oh, it'll do the job. But see, some of these colours you can't get now. See, like Viridian Green. Now, I love Viridian Green. It's not made now. Yeah. I've got some colours still over, but I don't know what's the matter with the paint manufacturers. Yeah. Maybe it's an expensive colour to make.
Can I also ask you Naples Jello? What brand is that? Because that's quite different
to
the
it's
one I
just
use.
Norma brand.
Norma?
It's a cheapie. It's on sale at the moment at Arts and they've got their Christmas sale. Now, if you mix Viridian Green with alizarin crimson, you're mixing across the colour wheel, a green and a red, but you're mixing very dark green and red, okay? And you can get, now vary that a bit with adding a bit more green to that, and you can get very, very dark and translucent. See, if you want to, you can thin that down. Now, those, when you're a little while, there's two portraits up the back. One is a demo I did at Mossman Gallery in 2008, and the other is a later one, and that's just using the underpainting. I didn't take it any further. It's called the grisaille technique, so that's quite useful. So that's there. I like to have a cool blue, which is it's turquoisey blue. Now, I noticed with Sheila, she used to use a very dark turquoise, and I found it too dark. On her colour wheel, I thought it was a fault in her colour wheel that she used that very dark turquoise. It just didn't fit with the rainbow, and it didn't show the luminosity of the chroma of the colour. So that was my, you know, we all have different ideas on these things. We think, that was half good, but I can do better. And look, nothing's perfect. You know, it's like cooking. Everybody has a different version of how much salt to put in. Okay, so that gives you some idea of the palette. Now, the other colour I am very fond of is Winsor Newton Cadmium Orange. Very expensive, but it's a beautiful colour. And I find that mixes well with lots of things. It's not translucent, and it's about $100 for a little tube that big. So it is quite, but it's well worth it. You can't get good lemon yellows. They're just, in oil paint, they just don't have the bite to them. I've asked Art Scene if they'll do some research for me. Now, of course, ultramarine blue is a nice blue, as you can see there compared with the, see, it's a much more purpley blue, and it will make good purples, or else you just go and buy a purple like I've got there, like that. So You could get a good purple by mixing the warm blue with alizarin crimson. You can try that. So you've got alizarin crimson and a warm blue together, and you'll get a purpley colour. I think it's a bit dead compared with buying the purple in the tube. So anyway, so there you are, there's a whole lot of clue. And that's enough for me to use. I can't handle any more. So people buy too many tubes of paint and they don't know why they're buying them. So, you know, have a think about why you're getting something, why you're buying it.
So excuse me, Jocelyn,
Yes,
it seems that you've got basic primaries and secondaries. Yeah, and a little bit of white there too.
Quite a bit of white, yeah.
Is that the palette you use all the time?
Yeah. And I just keep it in that arrangement. So you don't, it's a bit like playing the piano. You don't want to have to pick the notes up and put them on the piano to play them. You've got to know where they are, what you're moving to. Okay, so what I'll show you now is just how, this is just an El Cheapo canvas. I always give it a second coat of white acrylic just to get us going there. So what I'm just going to do is mix up the palette knife. I'm just going to mix up well, I'll probably just do an underpainting with the raw umber, I think, because that'll be easier than mixing the alizarin and brilliant. Now the other thing I use a lot of is liquid. Liquid is marvellous. Yeah, good. So what I'll do is liquid, Liquin. It's a really translucent. Translucent. Should get a bigger brush out. That's silly, that one. I'll have it take a moment. I've got one of my house painting brushes out. A lot of liquid. Liquid is in that bottle there, and that bottle will cost you about $90. I use it a lot. It's well worth it, because this means you've got reasonably quick drying, which you can work into it. It's translucent. So I'm really just showing you how I would rock into painting. Now, I've given you a lot of theory, now I'm just showing you how I apply it. So hopefully that's a little bit of help to you. And then what I'll do is I'll just use a rag to work this out. So, are you guys all right there? I can turn around and show you anytime you like. You know. So if you want to come down closer, you're fine. Bring your chair, whatever you like. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to block this in and see what I can do. How much of anything I want. How much will I do with that? No, I think I'll move it over a bit. So again, only at this stage, something that's easy to do. No, I'm going to change the angle of that onion. So this is the sort of thing, in fact I'm going to change the onion. I'm going to try an onion that's going at that angle, because that angle will be a nicer thing there against that. That'll make a right angle. Right angles are marvellous things in composition. Right? So I'll do that and that and that. I don't really like that fold there, so I'm going to knock that back by putting it in the shadow and tuck it in at the back. So that's the sort of thing you can do as you're painting. You say, oh, I think I'll change that. I mean, when I'm doing a portrait, I'll be starting off blocking on somebody that's sitting there thinking, oh, excuse me, sir, could you put that hand over there? Oh, do you mind if I change the angle of your tie? Okay. Yeah. So it's that sort of thing you need to be able to do. Now, okay. Well, basic composition. I've got a strong right angle there. Is that a good thing to have? I'm not sure. I'll just have another look at that. What will happen to this area here? Yep. What have I got in there? I've got that onion in there. Got it going with that angle. Yeah, I think that'll be right. And then I've got this one going right down. That'll be okay there. Well, that was another suggestion of one there, but it's a little bit in the distance. And then I've got this there, which is the. That's probably. They're all a bit grouped together, but I can probably move this bit of white drape over there. I think I'll actually move that onion over. So this is the sort of thing at this stage that you're composing. This is called composing. It's called changing things around to get the result you want. Okay, so proportion is important. As Michelle would have said, it's how much you want of something is going to be the important thing. Yeah, see that? Okay. So I've got a watercolour up there I've done as a demo for somebody. I don't know what happened to that. See that little quick one up there? Similar sort of composition. They're good subject matter for these sort of things. So I'm still looking at that. Now, there's a big strong movement there. I wonder if that'll work. It might work if I think I'll move that onion over a bit more there. So that's where I end up getting paint on my mouth and everything else. Move that over a bit. That will give me a bit more room for that fellow. That'll be better. So again, it's trial and error at this stage. One of our teachers, Bob Gunter, marvellous teacher he was, great draftsman, commercial artist I think, but I think he was good. And he, one of his favourite things was trial and error. Oh gosh, because as young kids, what's trial and error mean? So as you get older, you say, oh yeah, I know what he's talking about. So it's getting better now, spreading the interest out a bit. So a rag, underpants are really good. The locals know I like underpants, so they often bring them around. So that's getting a bit better. Okay, now I'm going to make the top part a bit more interesting. There's a nice little movement coming down there, and I think that will help to pick that up. Just as in the Jimmy Cook, you've got a movement diagonal in the back there, and that just picks up that little mark there. So they're what we call carry-through lines, and they're wonderful things in design. And you can get them not just in lines and in shape, you can get them in colour too. So you might think, wow, I quite like that there, but will that be too much red? It probably will be, but I'll show you how to adjust that. Okay, so that's part of what I'm going to do in a minute. So, okay. Is this some help to you, what I'm doing?
How long does liquid stay wet?
Oh, probably an hour or so. If you leave it around, it will start to dry out after a couple of hours.
Yeah, but on your canvas. So how long do you have that flexibility to move your drawing around?
An hour or something, 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Still be nice and sticky, I like it, but yeah, I think that's probably got enough design music there for that. Okay.
Can I have a question about the composition?
A big pundy?
Can I have a question about the composition?
Yeah, please.
So this is, you compose the scene here, but when I do a landscape, is it like you walk around and
you often
and
do.
pick the right
Yes,
spot where you want to look from and how much of what you
I
get?
do a lot of that. I've got a client of mine at the moment, Margaret Pomerantz, who's in town. It's for her son. I'm not sure it's going to work. I don't regard myself as a landscape painter. I do, but I mean, I prefer to paint figures or still life. But anyway, she wants a view from the back of her place for her son to take back to Wales. And, they want the little seat that a couple were married on. And if possible, the married couple, oh no, please. Like saying, you want to put Mickey Mouse in the film? And, so I've done several ideas for her. I'll talk to her about it. I don't know that she's the demanding person, it's the son, and I don't think he's got much art taste, but anyway. That's what you sometimes get. Sometimes they don't care, they just carte blanche, leave it to the artist, but other times they don't. And you try to please people, but then you use it as a thing to educate people, which is quite good. So what I'll do here is I'll just put the primaries down here, basic, primaries and secondaries. So I'm just going to do a very basic thing here to get the idea going. So I'm not going to try to do too many adjustments at this stage with that. I just want to make sure that I've distributed the colours. So obviously there's a nice light highlight on that one, so I'll just wipe that out at this stage, which is a nice, easy way of doing it. Much easier than adding white at this stage, because the white can make it a bit chalky. So so I won't try doing that at this stage. So, and again, I use the mouth a lot, that's why you've got to be careful. Because Robert Hannaford got tongue cancer from using too much brushes in his mouth. I might even raise that onion a bit there, I think it would, and pretend it's up a bit higher, which might be better, give a bit more movement to that. But again, you know, pressure with thumb against the trunk of a tree story. Okay. This is coming good. Sometimes I quite like the fan brushes because they're fairly brushy and I cut them down to suit my job. I love drawing, of course. I still go to life drawing every week. So I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I really don't relate to. Now I've shortened that distance in there, which I don't mind actually. I've grouped them a bit close together. I'm actually going to move that out a bit. Wait one minute. I'll just move that guy over a bit, and I'll move this guy over a bit. And I'll end up with a bit more space in the middle, which will be better. That's better. Okay. Rubens would have had somebody to hold his brushes for him. Who's handling brush number 6? Okay. And that's quite a nice diagonal there, and that picks up that movement there. That'll be good, and that'll be a right angle to that movement. I love right angles. They really are marvellous things, and they help to keep the whole thing together. Okay, well, we're pretty well ready to get some more paint onto this now. So you've got movements going this way, picking up movements through there. Do a little bit of there. You don't have to keep the darks all as dark as they are there. You can move them around to suit the composition. Now, with that lovely grey in the background there, I'm probably going to mix, what is a good thing to do there is to mix, you can do it with a palette knife. You could say, well, basically that's is really Naples yellow with some purple. So that will give me quite a nice background colour there. I could use the raw umber. Now, sometimes you can break up the components of a colour. And you can put it on with a knife, or you can put it on with the brush. Of course, the knife will give you cleaner colours. That portrait of the lady in the blue shirt up on the wall there, my grandmother, up there, you'll see there's a lot of broken colour in there, and a lot of it's been put on with a palette knife. Did that in 1974, she was nearly 100. So that will give you an idea there. See, and you can break that up, as Cezanne would have done, into these various components, you see, and that'll often give you a freshness of colour. Or if it was in watercolour, you could underpaint it with a yellow and overlap it with a blue or a mauve. So that might just do for a moment, and I'll move on to something else. I'm not going to try and finish it, as it were. Down in the lighter parts of that, you can come down to some white, some more Naples yellow. Add a bit of mauve, it's too yellow there. Mauve into that, and that will be some of these lighter greys there, and maybe even some of those folds that are coming through there. Okay. And often the knife is a very nice, simple way of doing it. And you can modify it with a brush after, but it just means you're putting on the colour you've mixed, and you're not rubbing it up a lot with your brush. Making sense there? Okay. It'll all be modified in a moment. The important thing is to get the paint on the canvas and then do the adjustments Otherwise you can be so long fussing with something and you'll think, oh, why did I fuss with that so much for, when you need to get something down to make your adjustments with. Mother the same and all that stuff. It needs to be cooler there and cooler there. Okay. Makes sense there? We can get the brush onto it at the moment. Now, Naples yellow, well, I've got the Naples yellow. You don't need to mix a lot of colours, they're all there. I'm going to use a lot of those Naples yellows colours over there. Okay. It won't take long to fix all these up and adjust them in a moment. And I'm going to need a lot more Naples yellow. I get through that a lot. The reason I'm holding it in my hand is because I'm not getting good light on the easel. I've got a smaller knife there, but a bit too small. I think this is alright, this one.
Excuse me, Jocelyn, do you add additional colours in your palette as required if you can't get it?
I'll get everything I need with that.
Anything?
I probably won't use half of them. Just give me the mother the same. A lot of it is tone too. How are you going to get it to work with the tone? Normally I would use a brush, but this is so much quicker for what we're needing at the moment to get this down and get a nice bit of vitality to it. I think this is fine. I'm just going to add a bit more mauve to that far onion. I might have to get a bit more mauve out in a moment. I've used it all. Maybe a bit of that turquoise blue over there because it's a bit cool over there, that onion. I need a little bit of that lovely blue over there. That's a bit strong, but a hint of it I can modify, but I think we'll need a bit of that in there. It's too cold. Not going to work, it's jumping too much. But it'll give us a start. Just come back over with that. Put them on. Probably use a brush in there. I need to get some of those nice darks in there to get that to hold up now. There's a bit of drawing needed there. And the other thing, I'm working very quickly because I know that your attention span is not going to last while I do a Ross Harvey. Do you know Ross Harvey's work? Do you know Ross
Yes,
Harvey?
yes, he's very detailed, very patient.
It would take several months to do this.
Yeah.
Lovely fella. But he's doing a lot of quicker work now. Now I've got some orange down here in that. Mineral terps. A lot of people don't like mineral terps. They're all very conscious of health and all that. It never affected me in all these years, but then, you know. Just added a bit of lemon yellow to that to get just slightly more acid on that little bit of onion there. There's a little bit there, and there's quite a bit of acid yellow there. I very seldom use the lemon yellow unless I'm painting daisies out in the bush. Where you can just use your brush to just pull that together a bit more. Okay, it's a bit brutal at the moment, but we'll get there. We'll come back with that cat orange. Having a bit of stronger chrome in the job is nice. try to get every fold. I'll use what I want to for the job. And sometimes in the shadows, it's often nice to have a little bit of stronger chroma, so you might even mix that cat orange with a bit of alizarin crimson and just pop it into those shadows a bit there, just to lift those shadows a little bit. So the chroma is there, but the tone is dark, and that gives you a nice vitality. So you need to know those little things as to how to make those things work. And that'll just lift that a little bit. And we've got to try and modify it a little bit. Now we've got a purpley colour down there, which we'll use what we've got there. I'm going to put a bit more purple out there in the job. Permanent mauve, marvellous colour. I think I've got enough to see me out. This is always the problem, they just don't make these things anymore. What am I going to use? Corner, I think will work alright there. I'm going to take that down there. I'll use a couple of those purples over there, probably in the side of that onion a little bit, might help. Carry the colour around. It's amazing how you pick up a colour and think, well, while I've got that on the brush, I'll move it over there. Is this making sense to you? I haven't heard any alarm gasps. I hope it's going all right. Margaret Preston, great still life painter. She was the one, and I think I've written her quote down there for you. And that the still life table is where the artist can do the compositional decisions. The laboratory of the artist, as she used to call it. And it needs a little dark there just to define the drawing. I'm using some of the same waves that we had there a moment ago. Just bring them together a bit. Extended the angle of that fruit a bit there because I wanted the angle there, so I'll just make the onion a little bit more pointy there. And this is where you start to get a little bit more detail, but not too much or you'll kill it. A little bit more green, you see the cool colour there, so a bit more cool yellow, it's just to build that roundness there. Maybe even a bit more raw sienna over there. The other quite useful colour is Indian yellow. That's wonderful. It'll give you a lot of the richness that the raw sienna will give you, but it will give you with a bit more glow to it. That's Indian yellow there. Come here. I quite like Indian yellow. It's got a translucency to it. It looks like raw sienna, but you put some white in Indian yellow and you get a really glowing colour.
Is that Norma again, the brand?
I'm not sure, but I've lost the label on it. I think I've got new Tudo, but I'll have a look in a moment. So see on that there, so if I put Indian yellow on that, it'll just give it a glow to it. See, I brought the chroma up now. So that's something you need to think about a bit. So even if you mix mauve with it, you get the roundness there. And again, using those brush strokes like Jimmy Cook did, or Cezanne did, you just build it up in planes of colour. Marvellous. Right, I'm just going to put a bit more lemon yellow there, that onion, and take that right up into that, and a bit of white there. And I'm going to put quite a nice piece of white down that one there. Build it a little bit more drama. Because in the long run, it's the drama that's going to carry in a painting. Accuracy, I know Ross gets beautiful accuracy, and tonally he does get drama, but sometimes I wish he'd stop when he first blocks in a painting and has nice big free brush strokes. I'm just going to put a little more Indian yellow there. So get that roundness there, and just using the angle of the brush. And this one here the same. A bit more Indian yellow there. Just gives that a little bit more richness. And there's quite a few other colours similar to Indian yellow that have, richness in them. Just going to add a little bit of warmness, getting a reflection off that orange thing. There's quite a nice bit of there and a bit of red underneath. See, it just picks it up. And the same there over there. You're getting a nice bit of orange over there on that one. See, it's getting that glow to it. At the moment I'm going to have to come down and put a bit more stronger orange into that. Hey, you're not too hot in here? Are you sort of coping all right with that?
No, it's not right.
Beautiful breeze.
Okay, well that's all right. Don't want you all being miserable. I'm going to get a bit more of that cadmium orange out. You can photograph it at any stage. Where's my cadmium orange gone? Okay. It goes a long way. I know it's a $100 tube, 99.9 or something, but it goes such a long way because it's a very strong colour. And with the whites, I think that's a zinc white. Zinc white gives you better covering. Titanium white has a lot of very, nice whites, but it doesn't always cover as well. It's a bit translucent. Of course, one of the best whites you can get, if you can buy it, and I don't even buy it now, I've got some, is lead white, which is, very nice. But I think it's probably illegal now. Just needs a bit of light there to carry that round. So this is where I'm not using the knife now, I'm just using the brush to fill that up a bit there. And those nice little bits of musical rhythm, as it were, it's a bit like music, isn't it? Just how much you want of something, how much you want to carry it over into that. It's pretty good. And really quite a greenish colour down there. I might see if I can get a bit of use a bit of iridium. Oh, and a bit of what do I use it? A bit of iridium, a little bit of Naples yellow. Just see what they will do. It's just on the inside of that. There it is. It's quite a nice little bit of green on the back of that bulb there, which is quite lovely. And there's a bit more green over there. Once I start to see it, I'll start to see it everywhere. It's a bit like a rhythm. You start to, like a dance rhythm, and you find, oh, there's some more of that there. Oh, there's some more of it over there. And then the darkest dark is just on the turn of that fold, which is a slightly maybe dark. I'll just use that just to give that bit of turn there. And then sit down in behind that. And sometimes it's a good idea to just work the brush across the form a bit. Just get a bit more volume that way, and having everything down the form. That's my drawing coming in again. Just a little softer over there. There's some nice rich, I'll put some more rich colour in the shadow there. Might be a bit jerky there, might have to just darken that a little bit there as it comes through and soften that orange a little bit there now. So it's just a matter of just adjusting to the thing, just make it work with the composition. So I quite like the drapery, but if it's too jumpy for the, taking too much of an actor, too exciting an actor, or do I make another actor a bit more exciting? So that's the other thing you can do. So you come down here to this little bloke here, and you say, well, okay, that's very cool on the side of that. I should get that more. Form is a marvellous thing. Form itself, solidity, three-dimensional, that will come forward in itself. So if you get something and you want it to really come forward, if your drawing is strong enough, it'll bring it forward. So I'll just do a bit of dark under that and round behind that and just bring that forward. And if you do that, you'll suddenly get that coming forward a bit more. Now what I'll do there too is that drape's a bit higher there, so I'll just bring that up there, and that'll allow me a little bit of backdrop to just bring that around there, a bit cooler, which is good, and bring that through to there, that's good. There are some darks in there, I'll come back to that if I want them, but I've actually got a nice swing to that which is not out there, so I've modified what's out there to work. I'm just going to use a bit of cool in that shadow. Now, you can often have cool and warm, so I've used a little bit of vermilion in there. I'm also going to use a little tad of orange in there. Ooh. So just a little bit to lift that shadow. So, wow, that's lovely. So again, how much can you use of your colours, knowing where you're going with them? So how much can you use of something? So again, it's all colour relationship. I may need to get some clean tips in a moment. It's getting too grubby, that tips. There's a lovely little bit of light down the side of that. So I think I might have to get a little brush out for that. And the top of that is quite light. And that tucks under that, and we're going to have some nice warms under that, because as that turns under, you've got nice warm reflected lights. So again, you can think of your colour relationships. David, there's a jam tin over there, about 4 inches high. Tip that into that without getting yourself grubby on the sink, and put some more clean tips out of the big bottle in it. Yeah, just tip it. Tip left, where you're left-handed, yeah, tip it in there. Just give me some clean tips, please. Good. And sometimes I'll even use a little saber brush if I really want detail. I'll use something like this. See that? And I'll just build that up, and all of a sudden I've got magic, see? Thank you, Dad. So that's out, that's really built that up. Oh, just anyway, just drop it down there. Thanks, mate. Good. Now, is this sort of thing helpful to you? Because
Beautiful.
I can only do what I do, which is me. I can't be anybody else. I mean, I thought of doing a little while ago, I did a portrait demo for a group. I don't know if they were artists or what they were, but anyway. I came over from the northern beaches. Oh, there was a Rotary group, that's right. It's just an entertainment thing.
Oh.
And they loved it. So see how I'm getting the strength into that now? And you can use your finger too if you need to. Yep, that's about right. That's nice. Always on the brush as well. I'm actually going to bring that around there. So actually, I'll get some more white out there. Some more now. I'll put that picture right there. It'll help to carry those lights. You need something a bit more painterly there. they might need a touch of it there, that's all, just a touch. It's all to do with feeling, balance of the thing. People say, well, how did you know? Well, it's a bit like saying to a ballet dancer, how did you know you had to put your foot out there without falling over? A lot of it, I think, comes too from a lot of life drawing that I do, because life drawing gives you that lovely sense of design and, balance. I do life drawing every week, and have done ever since I was a student. So, people say, why would you want to draw the nude? Well, I don't like the way they teach it at Ashton's, because they teach it too academically and they don't teach the rhythm of the dance enough. But that's just my theory on it. I have spoken to Paul about it. I said, I'll let you what you taught, you can draw. Okay, I can get them to draw by doing that. Okay, we're almost done. I'm going to go for a tour around the whole place. How are we going for time, David? Is it working all right for everybody?
Okay, sounds good. Yep.
Yeah. Mind if you're starving for a minute? Okay, you can't eat paint. I'll spill some paint off you and mix it in. I know, I'm going to get a messy, don't you, the carpet, so. Yeah, that's better. I'll just use that darken a bit more. That's a little bit darker than that is. And that line will carry this line, which is that little bit of tweak off the end of the onion. And that will be a nice arch to support that. And then, now those two lines might be too parallel. I'm going to bring that one down a bit. To change the angle of that. It's being sensitive to your angles and saying, well, how will I do that? How will I get away with that? Ah, that's better, isn't it? See? So that movement's working better now. Yep, okay. Nice, okay. And the nice vigorous vitality is good too. Just what Jimmy Cook got in that painting there. Hope you photograph all those things. But make sure you get a good photograph of the Jimmy Cook. I think I need to do too much more there. I think that's pretty right. I quite like that break there. I won't change that. Some things are happy accidents. And was it think of Margil Hinder. She used to say, remember the happy accidents. Enjoy them. Because often, if you're sensitive to them, you'll think, oh, that was a nice brushstroke. And don't just paint it out because it's not a pretty picture or something. And that's what a lot of beginners do. They think, oh yes, but I've got to get what they think is accurate because it's photographically accurate. And they kill the artistic quality of the thing. So, you've got to be sensitive to those things and not kill it. It doesn't mean to say that everything I'm not trying to do splash and dribble, I'm just trying to paint quickly at the moment. I quite like doing little paintings because a big brush stroke on a little painting looks very good.
So that would be an average size for you, because I'm looking at your walls and you've got smaller paintings, so generally.
Oh, I do a lot of little 7x5s. Somebody said, oh, that's. I often get commissions for little 7x5s and fishermen and things, and they're nice to do. And, $300 to $500 brings in a little bit of pocket money, and you get some nice vitality. And of course, I love the figures. So. What's a little brush there? Wants a little bit of fine, just a little bit of accent. Sometimes it's just a little bit of drawing like that, see? Just a little bit of that there. Okay, that's now sitting down, instead of standing up there. And It's just a little tweaky sable brush there, and I'll just do a little bit in there. Find that. Well, it may not be. No, we're not trying to paint a piece of geography for someone to, find a still life in a dark street or something. It's just there to give you the idea of it. You're borrowing from the group, that's all you're doing. Painting to no line, including portraits, is borrowing from your reference. That's good, isn't it? Now, let me see white one. White's what you tend to use most of.
You always use zinc white?
Oh, titanium's nice, think's a bit more expensive, but that's all right. Just blend that in a bit there, 'cause I don't want that so jumpy. I don't want that quite so jumpy there, so I'll just join that together there. Just blend it there. I'll do quite a bit with my fingers, it's alright. I think we're almost done. I mean, it's a quick thing to give you the idea of the thing. I just like that little bit of movement there. That's nice. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, you can fiddle and fiddle. You're not going to gain anything very much more by fiddling. I could probably put a few more colours in here and there, like there's quite a nice little bit of green in there. That wouldn't have to add a little bit of that there, or in a bit of blue in the shadow. Sometimes those things you can get away with just a little bit to enrich in the shadow a little bit. But generally the shadows are better if they're cool and not warm anyway. So I might have a little bit of dark on that onion there. Too blue, too forced. And you've got to be very careful you don't force something. So what do you reckon? Does it job? Okay. So with that in mind, I'll just wash my hands because I'm grubby as all get out. And we'll go for a walk.
Going to show us around the gallery? Fantastic.
Okay. So, and you can go over the house and see